By comparing yourself with the characters that you play, what personality traits of yours would you recommend for your characters to have, and what personality traits of your characters would you want to have for yourself?
All right.
I'm going to jump right in there. You have time to think about it. I like the fact that he's always eating and he's hungry. So, available food, yeah, I think that would be my go-to.
So yeah, traits that you would like to lend from yourself to your character and vice versa.
I went with food, you can't take that one.
That is a really difficult question.
Yeah.
That is a really difficult
It's like you've thought it through. It's like, what is it, like 9 a.m.? This is crazy.
No, Vancouver's bringing their A game today.
Yeah, I love that. Nice going, Vancouver.
Iris is quite fearless. And I wish I had a little bit more of that in my life. I mean, I'm definitely strong. And,
You are strong.
You're boxing too, so yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't want to meet me on a street corner at 2 a.m.
I
But
I misunderstood that.
I guess what I mean to say. She is an activist in her own right. She watches things happen in her city and she doesn't sit back. She is very much involved, whether she has powers or not, and that inspires me. You know, we're kind of living in difficult times right now in our world, and she does inspire me to get off my butt and be an active participant in making my city and my country better. So that's something I definitely want to take from her.
Yeah. Deep, thoughtful, insightful food.
That sort of sums us up pretty much as people. Right?
I have a question for both of you. Did you guys ever pull any pranks on set?
Things that I can tell you? I literally, since you asked that question, I've run through like 7 of the things I've done in the last like 2 weeks. I can't share any of them. I wish Carlos was here. Carlos is one of my favorite victims. He's got such a great sense of humor. What the heck?
Yeah, I haven't been a victim of many. I think because I'm too sensitive.
I'm not after
I'll
you
cry.
because you're too good. I go after the people who aren't good.
Grant does this thing that drives me nuts. He likes to pretend to walk into things and hurt himself. So he'll just pretend to walk into a wall and then scream violently and fall to the ground, and we're all like, "Oh my God, Grant!" He's like, "Just kidding." Like, that's not funny, Grant Gustin.
But has he ever actually walked into something and hurt himself and you guys not believed him?
No, not yet.
Because you know that time is coming.
It's coming.
Yeah.
He did it the other day, and I was just like, I really don't like you right now.
Yeah.
He's so good at it. He's so good at physical humor and comedy that, yeah, he always nails those walking into stuff.
Until Karma pays a visit to the set. Hi. Hanging out together now. I don't know how I feel about that.
So, given the state of the world that we live in today, what are some of the things that you think we could all learn from the world of The Flash?
And also, Tom, could I please hear you say, "Run, Barry, run"?
He said, "Can I hear you say, 'Run, Barry, run'?"
So the female's question was...
This is the audience equivalent of deep, insightful, thoughtful food. So, why not?
You summed that up really well. Yeah, what is your name, Barry? In this scenario, are you Barry? I'm putting you on the spot. This is what it's like to act with me, by the way. It's like, you don't just get to go, like the director doesn't just go, action! All right, so here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna be the director, and you're gonna say action. Now I'm gonna say my line. Are you ready?
All right. Action.
Excuse me. You wanna make sure the lights are on?
You look pretty lighted up to me, so... You look absolutely delightful.
Yeah, no, let's go again. Go.
Action.
You gotta, is your camera working? Isn't this exactly what it's like?
Long hours on set
Yeah.
with Tom Candice.
So I'm gonna do it for you. Ready? Lights, camera, action. Run, Barry. Run.
Well done. As far as Killer Frost's question, is there anything they would like? I just want to point out that speaks to tough times that we're in when the supervillain is like, what can we learn from the show to make us a better world right now? Because we kind of need it.
Stop freezing people. Start. Yeah, I think this goes back to the question I answered previously, and I have a tweet kind of pinned on my Twitter that says, you know, something along the lines of, you know, more and more it seems that we have more Zooms in the world, and we should all try to be a Barry Allen, you know. And I didn't say that as eloquently as I wrote it.
That's amazing.
But it's true, you know. Who are you in the world? Are you Zoom or are you Barry Allen? And I always say, if you got struck by lightning tomorrow, this particle accelerator explosion went off, and you were given powers, would you use those for good or for evil? Would you be Barry Allen or would you be Zoom? Would you be the Flash or would you be the Reverse Flash? And that's something we all have to think about, you know, where we are today, who we are in our lives. Are you doing things to help people, encourage people, make people feel inspired? Or are you getting online and bullying people? Are you cutting people off in traffic? Who are you? It's small things. It's not just about being a superhero and saving the world. It's about what you're doing in your daily life to make the world a little bit better for everyone else. So who are you really? Are you Barry Allen or are you Zoom?
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. It comes down to actions. You know, I think one of the great things about the Flash is it's not just hope as a tactic. It's we see the bad and the negative in the world, but it doesn't discount the positive that's in the world. You know, if you look at the recent election in America, all the good that was there is still there. You know, it doesn't, just because there's dark doesn't mean the light goes away or it never has been there. It's still there, which is the kind of thing that we count on. You know what, here's an obstacle. And so the stories of the Flash are about overcoming obstacles, which is essentially, you know, I'm just reiterating what Candice says. How do you overcome those obstacles? Big and small, it's up to all of us to overcome those obstacles, to do the small things and the great things, because when it comes down to it, we are our actions. And so when confronted with an obstacle, the Flash takes action, you know, and so in the state of the world, clearly there's obstacles. And so it's up to us to take action.
Here, here, yeah.
So real.
Just don't go back in time and screw things up. Like, be Barry without the bad time travel decisions. Hello.
Hi, thank you for coming and participating in Fan Expo Vancouver. Two completely separate questions for Tom and Candice. For Tom, first of all, I did love you and Ed. It's the first thing I ever noticed you in. But I wanted to know, because my favorite Harrison Wells you played was from Earth 2, and I love the relationship you developed with Jesse. I'm just wondering, how was it working with Violet Bean and developing that relationship? And then for Candice, I think Iris does have a superpower, and it's her role as a journalist. It's like kind of like Lois Lane in the Superman universe. That's her superpower, to get the truth out and the word out. I'm just wondering if we actually see more of that from Iris this season, using that, her superpower role, as the role of a journalist.
Oh yeah, that's me. I'm Iris.
Whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think, you know, this is what I always say about Iris, and I love the romance that is happening between her and Barry, but I'm always advocating for more of seeing her at work, because women, we are more than just the men we are in love with or, you know, have romances with. So yes, I'm always advocating for seeing her with agency and at her job. We do get to see a little bit more of that this season. So yeah, I think hang tight. And I agree with you, I do think that is a part of her superpower.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. That as a journalist and covering things and getting the word out, you know, that's one of the greatest things we see Iris West do. And I think it's so necessary, so incredibly necessary for our show to see that, you know, she has as much worth as anybody. you know, because of her job and because of the person that she is. As for me, what the heck was your question? Something about Harry
It
Wells?
was you working with Viola Bean and developing that relationship with you and Jesse Quick or Jesse.
Oh yeah, well, one of the great things I was given last year was a goal. You know, every actor, like ultimately we're doing The Flash, and so in many ways it's our job to support The Flash's goal and to team up to help The Flash achieve a goal. That's just necessary when you do a comic book show called The Flash. But the writers have done an exceptional job, you know, giving her journalistic acumen, giving Carlos his vibe obstacle or something he's drawn toward, and all these stories that energize us and give us a goal. And for Harry last year, his goal was to protect his family, and there's no more important goal than that. And so it was a very clean line for me to play, because ultimately what he had to do was protect his daughter. Like his whole sole purpose was protecting his daughter, and everything else fell by the wayside. He needed to keep Jessie safe, and along the way, crazy things happen, and she's evolving in her own right. But as a parent, that goal was just an incredible thing to play. It made it really, really worthy for me, and I think for the audience, it made it very clear this guy was just trying to protect his own. And so sometimes that made him antagonistic, and when people didn't agree with his goals, he didn't really care, and wasn't afraid to say he didn't care what they thought. But it was a good thing to play, and I'm hoping that Violet, we see a lot more of Violet. She's tremendous.
Thank you very much.
Over. And I realize we can't really talk about the plot or anything, but I am curious about the
Here's what happens.
Here's what happens. Here's break it down.
So Brandon Routh, Legends. Okay.
Speak to the technical challenges of working with 3 other shows, about having actors come onto your show. I mean, there's also joys of getting to play off of people that you don't get to normally act with. So just speak to that a little bit, the technical component, but also the joy as actors and these crossovers.
I'm going to speak to the technical component first. We have, like, you know, we've got a cadre of people, Colin and JP, Bonnie, Lucia, and these are the people in our production office who basically run these crossovers, because it's really hard to do one show. It's very difficult to organize one show. It's a lot harder than it might seem. To try and do 2 shows in the same period of time, that's impossible. And to try and do 4 shows in the same time, it can't be done. And so somehow the scheduling works out, and it is the biggest puzzle to put together these pieces, and the unsung heroes are the people who manage to get it done, because it can't really be done. Anybody would tell you I've worked in television for 117 years, and you can't do 2 shows at once. It just can't be done. You know, especially if what you're asking is like the leads on each show. Do the lead storyline, but also, you know, she's got to do the lead storyline and then also go over and do this and that on 3 other shows. I mean, it's an impossible undertaking that somehow manages to happen because of the people behind the scenes making it work. And then the rest of us get to show up. We're told, you're going to Supergirl or doing this scene, and you know, in a hangar with like 17 other people, and here are your lines, and so we just show up and do it. You know, we're the beneficiaries of all this incredible planning that happens. And I think it's done for the audience, and I think you like it, right? But yeah, it's great to be able to see some of these people, like old friends who suddenly are like on our show, and it's always a pleasure to see those people again. It's the multiverse is, for us, the superhero world, it's quite small, and all these people have become like quite good friends, even though we don't share the same show. We sort of share the same universe, and we all get along. It's really a tremendous group, so getting a chance to play with them is a pleasure, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I make no mistake about it, it is quite the feat to get these shows made and on the air for you guys, and it can be quite draining for someone like Grant or, you know, the main characters, but we see how much you guys enjoy them that I don't think that will ever go away. It's so worth the lack of sleep and the lack of energy just to see how much the fans really enjoy these crossovers. I mean, so I think it's something that's going to happen for years to come, and we are glad to do it.
Yeah. You say that now, but when it's like 6 or 10 shows crossing over,
Yeah.
then we'll talk. But no, it really is like it's an achievement. It's such an amazing achievement for TV to see all of these things happen together.
And like Tom was saying, it's not just us, it's all of the crew making it work, the production making it work. They are really, really busting their butts to make us look good and give you guys a great product that you can enjoy. So there's so many people behind the scenes. We take a lot of credit because we're on the front lines, but God, I hope you guys know that there are thankless crew members that are really, really making us look great.
So I think we only have time for like 2 quick.
Hi, I have a question for both of you. As the fact that Trump will become the president of the United States, and some people blame it for Barry Allen. So if it really happened in Central City, will you allow Barry to go back and change the timeline again?
So it's getting a little bit real here. He's saying, is Barry Allen the reason for the results of the U.S. election? And, if this took place in Central City, would you encourage him to go back in time and change that? I'm going to give them an out if they want to on that question, because it's sort of a tricky question, but yeah.
I'll take it.
Okay.
First, no. Barry Allen is not responsible for Trump getting elected. Second, here's a silver lining if everything has a silver lining. The world is how the world is, and you can either hope that it's not there, or you can face up and see what it is. You know, and so this election has shown us the monsters that are out there. So on The Flash, it's like, all right, instead of keeping them hidden underneath the rug, there it is, right? So what are you going to do about it? And Barry Allen is the kind of person that we all hope to be, that I hope to be in the next 4 years going forward, that says, you know what? As opposed to ignoring it, one of the famous quotes that I like to live by is fear faced is fear conquered. Here's the fear coming out. Now we face it, now we conquer it. That's what the 4 years of superhero fighting are ahead of us. And I'm happy to have people like Grant Gustin, like Candice Patton, like all those people on my side as we take on what is actually a real and an important fight.
Knocked it out of the park, Kavanaugh. Final question.
Okay, hi, my question's not as political or intelligent as that one.
Thank God.
In August, they announced that you guys are doing a musical crossover with Supergirl. Have you gotten the script for it? And if you haven't, what songs would you like to sing? And are you willing to give us a bit of a preview of it?
So I'm going to give them a pass on singing on stage, but if they, have any thoughts about the episode, you guys you haven't even gotten a script yet, right? Have you?
No, I've just gotten up to 14.
Yeah.
So I don't know anything about the crossover, to be honest.
Yeah.
Here's what I think about the crossover. 3 words. Jump the shark. I think anytime somebody attempts a musical, it's like, we're done, good night, thank you. We just want to throw this musical out there for you. But what we'll say this about the Berlanti-verse. The man has been fearless. But around the time that Captain Cold happened on our show, I turned to Greg Berlanti. You know who Greg Berlanti is?
Oh. Yeah.
Hollywood's golden boy, yes? So, and I said, are we all at all worried about story? Meaning we're really moving forward quickly. And Greg said verbatim, there's always more story. And so what I like about his fearlessness attacking the story is that, you know what, now we're gonna throw a musical out there because we're not afraid. And I love that about this guy. He's like, he's not afraid. We're gonna do a musical. And look, when they yell cut, more often than not, there's some form of music.
Yeah. It's already a musical, we just don't film it.
Yeah. Carlos and I have the guitars, this is true, right? We have the guitars out all the time backstage. I mean, all the time.
Felton now too.
Tom Felton nonstop yesterday. Yeah, Tom Felton did it, and I did a Beatles cover of Oh Darling, which was terrible. But we're playing all the time, all the time. It's not a coincidence that HR carries drumsticks around with him. If ever a cast was set up to do a musical, Jesse Martin, Rent, there's nothing that Candice can't do.
Candice Patton in the shower.
Tom Felton, yeah, Candice Patton, shower. Tom Felton, Tom Felton is ridiculously talented, and I think the linchpin, I'll go on record for this, is the genius that is Carlos Valdez. I've done Broadway musicals, I've done a decade worth of musicals before ever doing the television show Ed, for example, and I've never come across a talent like this guy, which is saying something. He is the Lin-Manuel Miranda of our generation. He's sublime, and if we kind of hitch our wagon to him, I think we have a chance of not being canceled.
All right.
You guys excited about a musical episode, or?
I just want to watch the outtakes on like a DVD extra, or like just the behind the scenes of all of you guys like singing together. That like just a concert piece would be enough for me, just to watch all of you guys come together.
I think my Instagram thing has got a couple of things up with Valdez leads the four, but yeah, it's like it's shameless. We plan to be shameless on camera next.
There you go. On that note, Fan Expo Vancouver, you guys have been awesome. Please give it up for Tom Viola and Candice.